What's up, guys? Today is August 4, 2017. I have two editorials from The Hindu. First one, the NOTA principle on Rajya Sabha polls. Second, a half done reform on LPG subsidy. So let's start.
Should note, none of the above be an option in a state assembly vote for the Rajya Sabha, as it is for the electorate in direct elections. Following the Gujarat Assembly Secretary's statement that the nota option will be available on the ballot paper in the Rajya Sabha election next week, both the Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party have sought to convince the Supreme Court and the Election Commission that MLAs should not have this option. The Supreme Court refused to stay the process to allow nota, saying that the provision has been in place since April 2014 after a direction by the IC. It is important to note that open ballots are used in the Rajya Sabha elections. These elections follow a proportional representation system based on the single transferable vote, unlike the general elections to the Lok Sabha, which are conducted with secret ballots or votes and based on the first past the post principle. The idea behind the use of nota is to allow the voter to register a protest vote if none of the candidates is acceptable to her for whatever reason. While nota votes are tallied, the candidate with the highest number of votes polled is declared elected irrespective of the nota total. In the case of the Rajya Sabha elections, the vote allows for the preferential ordering of candidates. If an MLA chooses nota, the vote is rendered ineffective. In principle, the presence of the nota option for the legislator allows the possibility of a protest vote against the party high command for choosing candidates who are not agreeable to her, without having to choose candidates from opposing parties. The principle of a protest vote remains the same even if these are indirect elections. The party high command can issue a whip for a Rajya Sabha candidate, but anti-defection law provisions do not apply, and a defiant MLA is not disqualified from membership of the House. The Supreme Court has in the past held that open ballot votes in Rajya Sabha elections against the whip will not lead to disqualification, as the 10th schedule, pertaining to anti-defection provisions, has a different purpose. The Congress Party's protest on the introduction of nota draws from anxiety about mopping up sufficient votes to have its nominee Ahmed Patel elected to the Rajya Sabha. Six of its MLAs have already resigned, and there is concern that some of the remaining MLAs may not heed the party whip. Overall, both the Congress and the BJP probably have longer term worries about keeping control of their flock in Rajya Sabha elections. But it is not as if MLAs have previously fallen in line meekly on such occasions. Therefore, instead of struggling against the democratization of indirect elections, through reforms such as the nota option, parties would be better off relearning the art of flow management.
Second,
The government has informed The government has informed Parliament about its decision to completely do away with the subsidy offered to cooking gas used for household purposes. In an order issued in May this year, public sector oil companies were authorized to incrementally hike the effective price of LPG cylinders until the entire subsidy is wiped off by March next year, the Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Dharmendra Pradhan, told Parliament. Interestingly, political pressure from opposition parties following the announcement forced the minister a day later to argue that the government is merely rationalizing, rather than cutting, the subsidy. But the initial announcement left very little to interpretation. Previously, in July last year, the oil companies were given the green signal to increase the effective price of subsidized cylinders by 2 rupees a month. So the latest order to increase the effective price by 4 rupees a month, but with the clearly stated aim of eventually doing away with subsidies completely, signifies a more aggressive pursuit of the policy of cutting the fuel subsidy. It should be noted that the fall in global crude oil prices, which has reduced the price difference between subsidized and non-subsidized cooking gas in the local market, has already eased the burden on the government. In the latest union budget, the government allocated about 25,000 rupees crore towards oil subsidy, which is a fourth of the total oil subsidy bill of almost 1 rupee lakh crore incurred in fiscal year 2013. The cut in subsidy would further strengthen fiscal discipline. The implementation of the direct transfer of cash benefits in the last few years has already helped in the better targeting of subsidies to the poor, thus substantially reducing wasteful spending. The fall in oil prices over the same period may have led the government to believe that this may be the right time to withdraw the cooking gas subsidy without causing too much pain to consumers. It is estimated that about 18 crore people, many of them below the poverty line, depend on subsidized gas cylinders. It would therefore be difficult to argue that a complete abolition of subsidy will not adversely affect them. In fact, it will not be surprising if the government steps in to foot the bill if oil prices rise in the future, as it probably should to ease the pain. Much depends on how the government makes use of the current spell of relatively low oil prices. The foremost aim should be to sustainably lower the price of cooking gas once and for all, getting the government out of the business of managing subsidies. In the long run, this is the only way to ease the burden on consumers and also free the budget from the pressure of international oil prices. Deregulating the market for cooking gas, thus opening it up to more widespread market competition, would also help.